The Galactic Council chamber was silent, bright, and cold. Tall alien leaders sat in a wide circle of silver light. Above them, stars moved slowly across the glass ceiling. They believed they ruled the galaxy. They believed nothing could surprise them anymore. On the center screen floated a small blue planet. Earth. A young world. A noisy world. A divided world. To the Council, humanity was not a threat. Humans argued among themselves. They fought small wars. They were emotional. They were slow to join galactic politics. Many on the Council believed humans were not ready to stand among greater powers. High Chancellor Vorin leaned forward and gave the order. Send them the message. Moments later, a transmission shot across space toward Earth. The message was simple. Send diplomats to discuss the terms of your peaceful surrender. Several Council members smiled. Some even laughed quietly. They had seen this before. New species always reacted the same way. Fear. Confusion. Then acceptance. They expected Earth to beg for better terms. They expected weakness. Hours passed. Then the human reply arrived. The chamber lights dimmed as the message appeared on the main screen. 3 words. Request accepted. The room grew quiet. That was faster than expected. Chancellor Vorin nodded slowly. Prepare the reception hall, he said. We will welcome their diplomats. But then the Council's communication officer frowned. There is more attached to the message. The screen changed. It was not a list of names. Not a diplomatic ship registration. Not peace documents. It was a set of coordinates. Dead center of the Council's own star system. Confusion spread across the chamber. What is this? One elder asked. Before anyone could answer, the warning alarms activated. Red light filled the hall. Unknown spatial disturbance detected. All eyes turned toward the system map floating in the center of the room. Space twisted. Not like a normal hyperspace jump. Not bright. Not violent. Silent. Then they appeared. 3 massive black shapes emerged near the Council's capital world. No fleet formation. No visible weapons. No energy spikes. Just 3 enormous ships, darker than the space around them. The scanners struggled to read them. No weapon systems detected. No engine signature. No shield frequency. That is impossible, whispered one general. The ships did not move. They did not attack. They simply waited. The human transmission resumed. A calm human voice filled the chamber. This is the United Earth Command. You asked for diplomats. The Council members straightened in their seats. Where are your diplomats? Chancellor Vorin demanded. There was a brief pause. Then the human voice replied. You assumed we would send negotiators. The main screen zoomed closer to one of the dark ships. Its surface was smooth, almost alive, absorbing light. We sent representatives, the human continued. Just not the kind you expected. The Council's defense network attempted to lock onto the ships. Every system failed. Targeting returned nothing. Energy scans showed 0 output. Yet the ships were clearly real. They blocked starlight. They cast shadows across the planet below. They are inside our defensive perimeter, said the military commander, his voice shaking. How did they bypass the outer grid? No answer came. Instead, smaller signals began to appear across the system map. Tiny markers. Inside communication relays. Inside monitoring stations. Inside orbital shipyards. The human voice spoke again, still calm, almost polite. For 20 years, we listened. We learned. We studied how your council treats younger worlds. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. "We did not come to surrender," the human said. "We came to understand who you truly are." The chamber grew colder. Chancellor Voron felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. Uncertainty. The black ships did not power weapons. They did not threaten destruction. They simply existed, unmoved, unstoppable, watching. The human voice delivered one final sentence. "You asked for diplomats. Earth sent observers." The transmission ended. In the silent chamber, surrounded by blinking red warnings and failing systems, the most powerful leaders in the galaxy began to understand something terrible. Humanity had never been afraid. Humanity had been preparing. The three black ships did not fire. They did not move. They did not speak again. They simply stayed in orbit, like dark moons that did not belong. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, fear slowly replaced confusion. Military fleets rushed toward the ships. Hundreds of war vessels formed a circle around them. Cannons powered up. Missile bays opened. Energy cores burned bright. "Lock all weapons," ordered the High Commander. Targeting systems activated. And failed. Every attempt to scan the human ships returned empty space. No heat. No shield. No metal density. It was like aiming at a shadow. "They are there," whispered a technician. "But the sensors say they are not." The Council's capital world could see the ships now. People across the planet looked up into the sky. Three black shapes blocked the stars. No lights. No engines. No markings. Just silence. Then something worse happened. The Council's outer communication network shut down. Not destroyed. Disconnected. Entire star systems went dark one by one. Trade routes lost contact. Military outposts lost signal. Deep space listening stations stopped responding. "Cyber intrusion detected," shouted the intelligence director. But there were no attack signatures. No digital footprint. No known code pattern. The human ships had not fired a single shot. Yet the galaxy's most powerful government was blind. Inside the chamber, a new transmission began. The screen did not activate. The signal did not come from the main receiver. It came from everywhere. From the walls. From the consoles. From personal communication implants. The human voice returned. "You asked for diplomacy. So we studied your language." Images filled the air. Secret war records. Covert invasions. Signed agreements that were later broken. Evidence of smaller species forced into loyalty through pressure and fear. Gasps spread across the chamber. Those records were sealed. Hidden behind the highest security walls. "You call it stability," the human voice said calmly. "We call it control." Chancellor Voron stood. "You infiltrated our archives." "No," the human replied. "We observed your broadcasts, your trade signals, your fleet movements. Patterns speak louder than secrets." The Council's strongest intelligence officer shook his head. "That is impossible. No species can map our activity across the entire network." A short pause followed. "Correct," said the human. "Not a single species." The system map shifted again. Small icons appeared inside dozens of major council worlds. Listening posts. Observation satellites. Deep space probes. All human. All placed years ago. "We sent explorers long before you noticed us," the human voice explained. "Not to conquer. To understand." The military commander slammed his fist on the console. "You invaded our territory without permission." "No," the human answered. "We entered quietly. We harmed nothing. We changed nothing. We watched." The three black ships finally moved. Not forward. Not into attack position. They rotated slowly, as if scanning the system visually. Still no weapons charged. Still no shields raised. Then the human voice spoke again, softer now. You fear that we will attack. Several council members remained silent. You measure power by fleet size, the human continued. By firepower. By fear. The system map zoomed out, showing dozens of hyperspace lanes across the galaxy. Thin glowing lines that allowed instant travel between empires. Then, one by one, the lines flickered. And vanished. Gasps filled the chamber. Travel routes collapsed, not destroyed, but sealed. Ships in transit were forced back into normal space. Entire regions became isolated within seconds. We have learned your roads, said the human. And we built gates around them. The council now understood the truth. The three ships were not warships. They were anchors. Massive control hubs locking down hyperspace itself. No empire could move fleets. No reinforcements could arrive. The galaxy's strongest powers were trapped in their own systems. Still, the human ships did not attack. They simply waited. The human voice delivered another calm message. If we wanted war, this chamber would already be empty. Silence followed. The council realized something deeper than fear. Humanity had not arrived in anger. They had arrived in control. And control was far more terrifying. The human voice ended with one final sentence. We did not come to destroy your council. A pause. We came to test if it deserves to exist. The council chamber had never felt so small. Outside, the three black human ships held their positions, silent and steady. Inside, the galaxy's most powerful leaders sat trapped in their own capital system. No hyperspace lanes. No outside fleets. No clear enemy to fight. Chancellor Voron tried to steady his voice. What do you want? He asked. The question echoed through the chamber. For the first time in centuries, the council was not giving orders. They were asking. The human voice returned, calm and controlled. We want something simple, it said. Accountability. A new image appeared in the center of the room. Not weapons. Not fleets. A map of energy lines across the galaxy. Small glowing threads connecting star systems, trade routes, defense grids, communication towers. The entire structure of galactic civilization. You built your power on connection, the human explained. Trade, information, supply chains, alliances. The glowing threads pulsed softly. We studied those connections. Suddenly, one minor trade route dimmed. Then another. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Just, turned off. On the live system feed, a distant industrial world reported complete power loss. No damage. Reactors intact. But every control system was frozen. You are under attack, shouted the military commander. No, said the human voice. You are paused. The image zoomed deeper. Inside the human ships were massive structures, not cannons. Not missile bays. Quantum cores. Computational engines larger than cities. These are not warships, the human said. They are regulators. The Council Intelligence Director leaned forward in horror. You can control our infrastructure. We can influence it, the human corrected gently. We mapped your systems for years. We found weaknesses. We built failsafes. The room trembled slightly as one of the black ships activated a low pulse. Across the capital world, every weapons platform powered down at once. No explosion. No overload. Just silence. Defense satellites drifted powerless in orbit. The Council's strongest fleet, waiting outside the human ships, reported full engine shutdown. Hundreds of warships floating helpless in space. "This is war," one elder shouted. "No," the human replied again. "War destroys. This prevents." The map shifted once more. New simulations appeared. Projected battle outcomes. If the Council attacked Earth, humanity could collapse hyperspace nodes in key sectors. Empires would be isolated for years. Economies would fall. Food shipments would fail. Civil unrest would spread. Without firing a single shot. "You built a galaxy that depends on speed," the human voice continued. "We built a way to slow it down." The chamber grew silent again. Chancellor Voran felt the truth settling heavily over him. Humans did not bring bigger guns. They brought control. "Why?" he asked quietly. There was a pause. Then the human voice answered, softer than before. "Because we know what happens when power goes unchecked." Images flashed briefly across the chamber. Human history. Cities in ruins. Firestorms. Nuclear shadows burned into walls. World wars. Famine. Division. "We nearly destroyed ourselves," the human said. "Many times. The images vanished. But we survived. And we learned." The black ships began emitting a faint blue glow, not threatening, almost peaceful. "We do not seek to rule your galaxy," the human voice explained. "We seek to protect it from repeating our mistakes." One final simulation appeared. If humanity had chosen full war mode, the projection showed something terrifying. Within hours, every hyperspace gate across Council territory would lock permanently. Entire civilizations stranded. Generations trapped. Isolation lasting decades. The simulation ended. "We chose restraint," the human said. The Council understood. The real weapon was not fleet size. Not firepower. It was preparation. Humans had spent years building invisible systems around the galaxy. Watching. Calculating. Planning for the worst. And now they were proving a simple truth. They could break the galaxy. But they were choosing not to. The human voice delivered one final line. "You measure strength by how much damage you can cause." A quiet pause. "We measure strength by how much damage we can prevent." For the first time since the ships arrived, the Council felt something new. Not fear. Respect. And that frightened them even more. Silence filled the chamber again. No alarms. No shouting. Only the quiet hum of powerless systems trying to restart. The three human ships remained in orbit, glowing faint blue, steady and patient. Chancellor Voran looked older than before. "You have proven your strength," he said slowly. "You control our lanes. You can freeze our fleets. You can shut down our worlds." He paused. "Why have you not taken control?" The question was not angry. It was confused. The human voice answered without delay. "Because control is not our goal." The main screen changed again. This time, it did not show alien systems. It showed Earth. Oceans. Cities. Forests. Crowded streets filled with humans of different shapes, colors, and cultures. "You see weakness when you look at us," the human voice continued. "You see division. Emotion. Chaos." The image zoomed closer. Humans arguing in political halls. Humans protesting. Humans debating loudly in public spaces. "Yes," the voice admitted. "We are chaotic." The image shifted. Hospitals during disasters. Firefighters running into burning buildings. Strangers helping strangers during floods. Doctors working without sleep. "But chaos is not weakness," the human said. It is freedom. The council members watched in silence. For centuries, the human continued, we fought among ourselves. Nations against nations. Ideologies against ideologies. We nearly ended our own civilization. Old war footage appeared again. Explosions. Tanks crossing broken cities. Mushroom clouds rising over distant horizons. One alien elder looked away from the screen. We learned fear early, the human voice said. Not fear of other species. Fear of ourselves. The images changed once more. Human scientists shaking hands across former enemy borders. Space stations built by former rivals. Joint missions. Shared technology. We survived because we chose cooperation over extinction, the voice explained. The chamber lights flickered back on briefly, then stabilized. The council systems were slowly recovering. You built your empire on order, the human said. Strict command. Obedience. Stability through control. A holographic comparison appeared. On one side, the council's rigid hierarchy. On the other, humanity's messy, shifting alliances. You believe peace is silence, the human continued. A pause. We believe peace is choice. Chancellor Voron lowered his head slightly. You speak as if we are tyrants, he said. You are efficient, the human replied calmly. But efficiency without empathy becomes oppression. The screen showed several minor species within council territory. Economic data. Population decline. Restricted travel zones. Limited political voice. You call them protected, the human said. They call themselves unheard. The words hung heavy in the air. One of the younger council representatives shifted nervously. We intervened only when necessary, the human voice continued. We stopped 3 hidden extermination campaigns in outer regions. Quietly. Gasps filled the chamber. That is a lie, one general protested. The screen displayed evidence. Fleet routes redirected by unknown interference. Supply chains mysteriously delayed. Weapon systems that failed at key moments. You blamed mechanical error, the human said softly. It was not error. The room felt colder again. You have been inside our borders for decades, whispered the intelligence director. Yes, the human replied. But not as conquerors. The 3 black ships slowly dimmed their blue glow. We watched to see what kind of power you would become, the human said. The chamber remained silent. And today, the voice continued, you demanded surrender from a species you barely understood. Chancellor Voron closed his eyes briefly. We misjudged you. Yes, the human answered. A gentle pause followed. But we also misjudged you. The council looked up. We believed you were beyond change, the human said. We came to see if that was true. The hyperspace map reappeared. The locked lanes flickered softly. We do not want to rule this galaxy, the human voice finished. We want to stand within it, as equals. The council now understood something deeper than power. Humanity's true strength was not their technology. Not their silent ships. Not their control over hyperspace. It was restraint. They had every chance to crush the council. And they chose dialogue instead. The human voice spoke one final time. Now the decision is yours. Outside, the 3 black ships waited patiently. Not as invaders. But as a test. The chamber felt different now. Not because the danger was gone. But because the truth was clear. The 3 human ships still hovered in orbit. The hyperspace lanes were still locked. The council's fleets were still powerless. Yet no weapons were charging. No threats were spoken. Only one thing remained. A choice. Chancellor Voron slowly stood from his seat. His voice carried across the chamber, weaker than before but steady. The Council will now enter emergency vote. This had not happened in over 200 cycles. Usually, decisions were simple. Stronger empires decided. Smaller ones followed. Today was different. Today, even the strongest empire felt small. Around the circle, representatives activated their voting panels. Outside the chamber, word spread across the capital world. Across council space. Citizens watched from screens. Military commanders waited in silent ships. Traders waited in frozen lanes. The entire galaxy held its breath. The first vote appeared in the air. Empire of Rethar, support equal negotiation with Earth. Murmurs filled the chamber. The second vote appeared. Vax Dominion, accept humanity as sovereign equal. More whispers. Then a pause. The Third Empire was one of the oldest and most powerful. For years, they had pushed expansion into weaker territories. Their symbol flashed on the screen. Decision, oppose. Recommend full military retaliation once systems are restored. The room grew tense. But before anyone could react, something unexpected happened. A small voice requested permission to speak. It belonged to the representative of the Telari Collective, a minor species with little influence. Chancellor Voron allowed it. The Telari representative stood. For decades, she said quietly, we have depended on council protection. We believed it was safety. She paused. But protection without respect is control. The chamber went silent again. When humanity stopped the extermination attempt in our outer colonies, we did not know who saved us, she continued. Now we do. Many council members shifted uncomfortably. We vote for reform, she said firmly. And we vote for peace. Her vote appeared in glowing letters. Support humanity. Support equal charter. One by one, smaller species began speaking. Stories surfaced. Hidden tensions became visible. The vote shifted. Not because of fear. But because the truth was now impossible to ignore. Chancellor Voron looked toward the central screen. United Earth Command, he said. The human voice returned instantly. We are listening. You have demonstrated power beyond anything we imagined, Voron said. But power alone does not shape the future. A small pause followed. We choose negotiation, he finished. The chamber lights brightened fully for the first time since the crisis began. Vote count finalized. Majority, accept humanity as equal partner. Initiate reform of council authority structure. Silence followed. Then something changed outside. The blue glow around the human ships faded completely. Across the galaxy map, hyperspace lanes flickered back to life. Fleet engines rebooted. Defense grids powered up. The capital world's satellites regained control. Humanity had released everything. Without condition. Without delay. The council stared at the restored systems in disbelief. You are unlocking our network, asked the intelligence director. Yes, the human replied. You trust our decision so quickly? A soft tone entered the human voice. We had to choose first. Chancellor Voron slowly nodded. Will you send diplomats now? He asked. There was a faint pause. Yes, the human answered. This time, we will. The three black ships began to move. Not in attack formation. Not toward the planet. They turned toward open space. As they prepared to jump, one final message appeared across every major channel in the galaxy. Next time you ask for diplomats, the human voice said calmly, ask with respect. The ships vanished silently into hyperspace. No explosion. No shockwave. Just empty space where overwhelming power had once stood. In the chamber, the council members remained seated for a long moment. The galaxy had changed. Not because of destruction, but because of restraint. Chancellor Voron looked up at the stars beyond the glass ceiling. They asked for diplomats, he whispered. And Earth sent something worse. He paused. They sent humanity. And for the first time in history, the Galactic Council understood what that truly meant.